Okay, I want to tell you that this is the most difficult segment that I have yet to film in this entire DVD program. Why? Because I have chosen to surround myself with carbohydrate. And I have to tell you that out of the three components that food is made out of, fat, carbohydrate, and protein, if there is one that I feel is primarily to blame for the fact that we have an overweight and obesity crisis or epidemic in the United States, I would have to blame it on carbohydrate. And the reason is that these processed forms of carbohydrate are everywhere. They're at your supermarket, they're at every little eatery that you can imagine throughout the country. And the bottom line is they taste good, and we tend to crave a lot of these type of foods. There's also a physiologic reason that we tend to gravitate towards them, and then once we do consume these type of foods, because of the way our body works, we tend to naturally be driven toward them. And I call that the Carbo-coaster. And what I mean by that is this. Say I wake up in the morning and have a donut, and which is basically white flour covered with sugar. And the bottom line is our bodies are so efficient at breaking down these sources of carbohydrate. What happens is you get an initial rise in your blood sugar. Your insulin is a hormone that is secreted into the bloodstream that drives excess blood sugar into fat storage. It sends excess blood sugar from the bloodstream to be stored as body fat. And one of the things that happens after that is that your blood sugar drops. Well, that drop in your blood sugar then tells your brain and your physiology that your fuel level is dropping. And by starting the day with a pure carbohydrate without any protein, and certainly a higher glycemic source of carbohydrate, you will earn a surefire ticket on the Carbo-coaster, whereby you're chasing the next high sugar fix throughout the day. And these are the foods that are responsible for this pattern that we get into where we're bringing our blood glucose level up. It comes down. We chase that again by reaching for something else that reproduces that increase in our blood sugar, that satisfies the brain for just a little while, but then it's rapidly, our blood glucose level is brought down again, and we end up feeling that slump, and again seeking out sources that continually try to boost our energy level, but it's a false energy. So these are the type of things that I've got to tell you, you have to learn how to be careful. The bottom line is every single thing that you see on this side of this blue line is produced by man. Man has a role in manufacturing it, or certainly extruding it in some form or fashion. We make cereals, we make cookies, donuts, potato chips. These are, even though the components of these things may come out of nature, we've altered the components and changed the forms, added fat and sugar, and voila, here's what we have. And these are common things that you likely have some of in your own household. Certainly, they are unavoidable. They're everywhere. And that's getting back to one of my earlier videos when I talked about preempting with protein. This is why that concept is so important. You got to be able to think about and seek out protein as a fuel source before you're driven to consume these type of things. And certainly there's nothing wrong with having a donut or a cookie or a tortilla or pasta or any of these things at one time or another, and having them in a controlled manner. But the problem is, it's so easy to consume a cookie here, a donut there, some pasta or a big plate of pasta at lunch, and then later get back to the office and someone brings in some little muffins or donuts, and it just goes on, and it's so easy just to create a cycle throughout your day where you are just consuming a steady stream of high glycemic carbohydrate. And the problem is, it rapidly leads to an increase in weight. You're doing one or two things where your blood sugar is concerned and where food is concerned. If you're eating high glycemic carbohydrate, you're either going to burn them through exercise, or that blood sugar is going to be stored. And that's why you have to be really careful with this stuff. By contrast, on the other side of this blue line, we have some fibrous carbohydrates. These are vegetables, and there's a reason why I'm wearing a red shirt today. I want you to think about color. I want you to think about making food choices that are more colorful. And anytime that you are in a situation where you have a choice between choosing, say you go out to eat and you have a choice between choosing something that is man-made, say you've got a choice between macaroni and cheese versus asparagus, and you're trying to lose weight, well, that, to be quite honest, is a no-brainer, because the pasta or the macaroni is going to be a much higher glycemic form of carbohydrate than the asparagus. Fibrous forms of carbohydrate, your body has to work a little harder to get to them, and so you don't get a rapid rise in your blood glucose, you don't get a rapid rise in your insulin level, and consequently, you don't get a rapid storage of a lot of excess blood sugar. So again, take a look. This stuff is unavoidable. You have got to be careful with it. You've got to learn to manage it. You know, by and large, at my clinic, we talk about and encourage our patients to learn to eat what we call lean and green. And what I mean by that, lean meaning a protein source, a quality source of protein, and green, which really means green or colorful. Fruits, more fruits and vegetables, less of all of this stuff. And if you can do that, if you can learn to steer clear of these type of foods more often than not, and learn to focus more on foods that naturally come out of the ground and are more organic, then you will be able to steer clear of the Carbo-coaster. If you can steer clear of the Carbo-coaster, you will decrease the likelihood and the possibility that you will gain excess weight over time. And so take a close look. I've got to get rid of this stuff because if I leave it around the house, then it's trouble. And I would encourage you, by the same token, if you have a lot of these processed sources of carbohydrates laying around your house or filling your cupboards, I would tell you it's time to clean house. It's time to clean your environment and improve the quality of the food that you're taking into your body. And if you'll do that, you will benefit your ability to improve your health. You'll benefit your ability to enhance your weight loss, and you'll be doing yourself a big favor over time.